Yes. Welcome to Come Well to another episode, another doorway, another portal entitled Am I as I am, most importantly, as you are. Today's title and question is love or authenticity? Love or authenticity? Before I go into today's show, I just want to start it off with this understanding at first. There was a recent study that was done. I'm not too sure by the Russians or by the Swiss people or the people of Switzerland. There was a study done based upon what is the highest vibration or the highest frequency of this existence. What is the most powerful, most strongest, most highest source of vibrations? And until this study was done, it was known as one thing prior to. That one thing was known as love. Love was known as the highest vibration that one can be or be operating in and functioning in. The highest vibration or the power of love. Like Luther Vandross, his song, The Power of Love. So the power of love was the most highest vibration known to man. And so the study was done by these Swissians, we're going to call them people of Switzerland or Russians, I'm not too sure. And they studied the frequency of love. As they were studying the frequency of the vibration of love, a higher frequency became present. But it wasn't a frequency that was something separated from the vibration of love. It was kind of a protruding vibration that protruded from that prior vibration. And this higher, more powerful vibration that was realized from the study and analysis and observation of this was known to be authenticity. So basically meaning to be authentic in your mind, in your manner, in your behavior, in your way of being, to be truly authentic. This was seen as a higher vibration and a more powerful source of what we knew prior to as love. Now, these studies are called three forms of study that happen when they study the vibration. It's called cymatics. It was cymatics, acoustics, and frequency analysis. So cymatics, acoustics, frequency analysis. These were the three studies done on the vibration, primarily on not really focused on love, but to see what is the highest emanating vibration that emanates from somebody's being, from someone's being, that imbues, that projects outward from one's being, from one's state of being. Now, the first test was the love aspect or the intelligence of love, and then something protruded from that, which was a higher vibration of vibrating molecules that came to be known as authenticity, or to be authentic, for one to be truly their authentic self. Now, cymatics is based upon visible vibrations, or um, to make invisible vibrations and sound visible by coating something with a thin layer of liquid. And this automatically made something invisible visible, and to actually study, analyze, and observe. That's cymatics. Acoustic, or the acoustics study, was mechanical waves in solids, liquids, gases, vibration and sound, ultrasound, and infrasound. So we have cymatics. These are three studies done on vibration and frequency. Cymatics, acoustics, and frequency analysis. Frequency analysis is basically examining how often a particular event or value occurs within a data set. So it's to analyze patterns and trends within a specific form of data or a specific data. So it's basically unit measurement, or the measurement of units that occur, that can be visible and can be recorded and can be go into the database known as a set of data, which becomes a data set. So these three main studies are what the scientists, the Switzerland scientists or the Russian scientists, not too sure, don't quote me too much on that at the moment. One of these groups of people studied vibrations. And it went across these three. And what concluded was that authenticity was way more powerful than what we know as love. So these studies, in a metaphysical look at it and an occult way of understanding of what they were doing, they were basically making the invisible visible and seeing how often or how long its constant reoccurrence of its purest nature stays within the moments, and the development of its momentum intelligence. To keep something, to see what stays as present as possible. And if that thing that stays as present as possible is more higher or more powerful or more imbued, has more of a radiated glow that extends outward, like the nerve endings. It's looking at the light endings, the blast out, the ray, the corona of its power. And this was known as authenticity. But the funny thing is, it extended from what we know as love. So did love give birth to authenticity, or did authenticity give birth to what we know as love? Now, according to elders, master elders, master metaphysicians, our ancient people, ancient lineage, ancient bloodline, ancient technology, what was known as love, or to be loving, was to be love, which means, what did it mean to the ancient mind? Love meant to the ancient mind of one cutting through to its core, or one coming through to its core and cutting through that core into its essence. This is what the modern day love derives from. You see, once again, you can't understand the ancient mind with a modern mind. The modern is just infatuation, obsession, insanity over somebody. Addiction to sex, addiction to her beauty or his beauty. We become addicted, obsessed, and infatuated. And this is the external perceived version of what we know today as love. But it had nothing to do with anything external at all, from which it derived from. It was actually to internalize, to actually be your true, authentic, purest, pristine self. Meaning what? Meaning to not do what you don't feel like doing and to do exactly what you feel to do, regardless of feeling sorry for someone. Because if you feel sorry for someone and you're constantly doing things because you feel sorry for them, then you're actually supporting that person's weakness. If you are being of strength, you do not want to support somebody's weakness when it comes to either friendship or intimate relationship. You can't stay with a person because you feel sorry for them. You can only imbue the love within you, radiate it as it radiates on its own outward, and be of love because you're being truly authentic to your authentic self. And if they see it and pick it up and it finds resonance and residence within their being, they will remain in the orbit of you, within your you-ness, within your unique uh, aspect of your being, by you truly just being authentic to yourself. You going to your core and cutting through that core atom to its atomic nucleus, which is into the essence. So you're hitting your core and you're going through your core, cutting through it to identify or to come in contact with your essence. This is what it means when it goes according to friendship or intimate relationships. Now, the question is, why wouldn't somebody want somebody to be truly authentic? Somebody who has common sense and awareness and who actually has a mind or activated their mind and can actually think for themselves would want to be with somebody who is actually being their true authentic self. So it's being the real you, or going past the you that you think you are and coming in contact with your I, the thing or the intelligence which is prior to the you. See, you're leaving your you on the external and going internal to the I. The I has no agenda, has no intent. It just has an intelligence. So you're cutting through to the intelligence, basically. You're letting go of the intellect, which is the brain, and you're cutting through to the intelligence, which is the mind and the being and the spiritual purpose. So you're being of your spiritual purpose. And you're going to have things, intersections, which are called people and relationships, that are going to test or to sharpen your sword, to challenge you within yourself, especially when you're by yourself. Amongst them as well, but especially when you are by yourself, because when that happens, or some kind of friction or something happens, then you're going to say, am I going to call her back? Am I going to call him back? Or am I going to stay true to my authentic self because I have trust and faith in my authenticity, my divine purpose, my spiritual calling? See, so this is where the actual faith is at and where your divine truth becomes revealed. So, love or authenticity. Now, I came across a study and I heard one of these conscious platforms or spiritual platforms um, mention it, but it wasn't gone in on. They didn't go in on this very profound finding. It was just mentioned, and the show kept going on under a different topic, under a different subject. Fine. But that stuck out to me like neon lights. And this is like maybe the third time hearing about it because I heard about the study first. I went into the study, did the research, what they were doing, how they were doing it, what they were testing, what they were looking for. Um, like about two times I went into the study And then I heard of it on a website, on a website, on a YouTube channel, on one of the conscious platforms where people consciousness and spirituality speak and build and discuss things. And that was the third time when I says there's something about this that spirit wants me to get from this, so maybe I need to go into it. And I went inside myself for the confirmation, validation, and the information, for the insight, uh, things like that. And this is what I'm sharing with you now. Okay? Those of y'all, my subconscious scribers, it's more than greatly appreciated that you guys are here. And you are familiar with this platform and you know how I do and how I go about my show. For those who aren't, stay tuned. Most importantly, tune in. Olan falan doi fidoi. Okay. Now, these are examples based upon one in an intimate relationship with another. Man, woman, woman with man. Just intimate relationships. Okay. And these are things to keep in mind when you say or you think, am I being loving? Am I being authentic? But what are these two things? Are these two things something different, or is it the same coin, just two different sides of the same coin? In reality, it's the same coin. You can be loving or you can be love. See, once again, you can only be love. You can't love someone else. Love within that person and love within you will find itself. It will find itself. You didn't find her and you didn't find him. Love found itself. And when it found itself, you and him or you and her were face to face, eye to eye. That's how it goes from metaphysical and occult understanding of what true love is. And you were being authentic somewhere in your craft, in your way of doing, your way of being. You were being authentic in some form of way, some understanding. You were in your essence, so to say, at some point. But the essence is a fleeting thing sometimes. It's not something you can stay in and remain in and sit nice and comfortable and get comfortable inside the essence and just chill there and be there all day. No. It's a void of nothingness. It's a void of potential. Remember, every potential seeks a possibility to be and become. You see, that's the catch. So you can be in the moment, you can be in the now, you can be in the present. But something is going to happen to make you start doing where your moment, your presence, your nowness may be challenged at any given moment. Okay, so is love and authenticity two different things, or is it the same thing? It's the same damn thing. And there's different degrees and different graduations or different graduatory states of what we know as love. The more inward you are, the more innate, the more insidious you become, the more inside you get, determines the higher value and quality of your badge of love from the magnitude of your authenticity. You understand? By you being more authentic with yourself, your love radiates stronger and it reaches far. It extends like a sun. The more shiny it glows, the more the rays, the corona reaches out. It's the same thing with that sun is your authenticity or your authentic nature. You being authentic to yourself, within yourself, by yourself, as yourself. And as that happens, bang. Love, the quality of love is determined by the value of your authenticity. So by you being truly authentic, which is something that can't be identified, but there's something secret, something hidden, you're being authentic. Nobody knows what you're doing, what you're thinking, how you're being. You're being this thing, and it's hidden. Something you can't identify, something nobody from the outside can identify. But when it begins to protrude and project outwardly, people look at you and look at it and say, wow, you're loving, or you're radiating something. I don't know what it is. And then you may start a relationship with that person, an intimate relationship, and you're very loving. Only because you are being your authentic self, which is an unidentifiable thing that becomes identified on the outside as love. Okay, so understand this. So I'm gonna go line for line. It's not gonna be long. It's based upon intimate relationships. Understand this whole thing is based upon intimate relationships. Today's topic and question is love or authenticity. Okay. The first line is that which supports your selflessness, not your selfishness and stubborn ways. And this is dealing with authenticity, or to be authentic. To be authentic is that which supports your selflessness, not your selfishness and your stubborn ways. So basically, what is it saying? It's saying it's about not saying to yourself nor thinking to yourself. It's all about me and my feelings and what I'm thinking. It's about not saying that when you're in that moment of authenticity. It's about letting the feelings and thoughts play within the realm of feeling and thought, or within the playground of feelings and thoughts. And letting it play out within its own experience while you play the sideline in contentness, witnessing the whole act itself out. So it's basically to look out from the outside, or to zoom out from the outside and zoom in to your inside. And selflessness, which is something that can't be identified once again because it's internal. You're internalizing everything. On the outside can be looked at as selfishness. Oh, you're being selfish. No, I'm being selfless. That's the difference. Like I said, selfishness is more of an emotional behavior. It's a behavior. You're not thinking about me. You don't care about me. See, that's not selflessness. That's selfishness. Because selflessness is a quiet intelligence within the very essence and core of that being. And it's not that they don't care about you, or they're not thinking about you, or not considering you. There's no room or space within that to see that, because they are seeing their self and keeping their self content, centered, and balanced. So it's not like she's ignoring you or he's ignoring you. He or she is fully engulfed within their being and their spiritual purpose, their divine solar experience. That they just saying, I can see me. It would be nice if someone seen me as well for me. But at the same time, it would also be nice if they didn't see me for me. Either way, the cards may play. You remain content and as the witness. It's not to zoom in on your thoughts and feelings, but to let thoughts and feelings just play in the playground of the realm which you currently exist in, which is the human life experience. But you find yourself somewhere else to be, and let the thoughts and feelings play out, because it's looking for your attention, because it's looking for your action. Like I always say, energy turns into entity. You always have to keep remembering this. So when you are playing out or acting out the entity, then that basically means that you have become possessed in that moment. And if you are possessed in that moment, then you need to call your exorcist immediately to exorcise you out of that possession. What is your exorcist? Your exorcist is awareness and knowledge of self. These are your two exorcists to exorcise you out of that possessive state. That's selfishness. It's not that she or he can't see you or aren't considering or caring about you. That is a given. Like you can't work on caring and loving your mother. That is a given. Once the connection is made, the tie is validated. That should be known within both parties. Neither he should be saying that to her, neither she should be saying that to him. The only thing that should play out is the respect for each other's path or each other's purpose. And as long as they're remaining loving, what you want to call loving or caring or sharing, giving, then that's all that needs to be validated within the spiritual experience. Anything else is just chaos and confusion. So this is the purpose of one just really truly being authentic to their authentic self, or even trying to seek and find their authentic nature. At least let one seek their authentic nature, and then when they are prepared to speak back to you to let you know what their authentic communication is communicating to them by communicating through them, then you have a choice to remain or part. But at the very least, at least he or she was being completely honest with you. That in itself is a gift and a divine reward. That is priceless. See, so like I said, it's to zoom out from the outside and to zoom in to the inside. When someone is doing this, at least give them the common decency and respect and understanding and compassion for them going on the inside of their self rather than playing on the outside external illusion. But once again, this can only be realized, recognized, truly embraced, and appreciated by one who has a mind, who can think for themselves, and who has or possesses a certain degree of awareness and has a knowledge of self as well. Okay, not a knowledge of history, not a knowledge of ancestry to that degree, but a knowledge of their self, of the self, of self itself. How does self function? And from that point on, you operate as or act as. Okay. The next line or doorway is during interaction and suggestion with your mate, one who is being authentic is not really resisting the action or suggestion that was made, but you're taking a real quick moment to see and or analyze if the suggestion of action, whether it's taking a walk or going for a ride, is beneficial to your mental liberation, spiritual freedom, and mind expansion before responding with a yes or a no. So this is for people to not take personally when you have a mate who is seeking to come in contact with his or her authentic nature. They're not just saying, yeah, let's go take a walk when they don't feel like taking a damn walk. You say, honey, let's go take a ride in the car right now. Let's just get some air. She's like, nah, I don't feel like doing that right now. And she's not really choosing or deciding. Something is actually doing the choosing and deciding for her. She is just the mouthpiece and the vocal box or the voice box, the vocals that is voicing for something. She's not voicing herself. She's voicing for something within herself that doesn't have a voice. Remember, it's the unidentifiable intelligence, authenticity, authentic nature. You want to embrace somebody in their authentic state of self or state of being. That shows just how that gives more value, quality, and worth to your actual intimate relationship. Literally, cosmically, divinely, spiritually, soul wise. Those are the real soul ties. Um, so they're giving it a quick second, a quick moment just to think. If that walk, if that drive, if just meditating together or watching a movie together or whatever it may be, whatever event that you have going on with your mate is actually conducive uh, to their private wellness within their self that you want them to have, because the more well and more authentic that they are within their self, the more honesty you receive as the mate on the opposite end of the stick, of the spectrum. So the more authentic that your mate is within their self, the more you as the receiver on the receiving end of the relationship get that pure zenith of honesty. You see? But you also have to be willing to accept what comes in return and not take offense to it, not take it personal, but take it as an understanding, to understand certain principles and a few ways about the person. Because remember, I always say in relationships, intimate relationships, generally, do not try to understand the other person. That's not what you're in a relationship for. You're not here to understand each other. You're here to experience each other. And when you experience each other, the each other disappears. And you are both privately within your own mind, within your own orbit, within your own being. You are interacting face to face with principle, with energy, with forces, with the way the mind works, with the way the spirit conducts itself. You as the intelligence is interface, you as the visible intelligence are interfacing with the invisible intelligence. And it doesn't mean that your wife or your husband or your man or your woman or your mate is of less importance. No. If anything, you are picking them up on a higher platform. You are putting them on a more pristine plateau. Same thing right with beauty, right? A woman can be beautiful. Her personality is disgusting and hideous. No matter how beautiful she is ugly. And the same thing can go with a woman who's not so as appealing and appeasing in the looks. But she's so charming and so sweet and so nice or so content, so mutual within herself. When you come amongst her, you say, that is a beautiful specimen. It's what's on the inside that counts and amounts to anything of value and quality. So you want to cater and have focused and full attention on that which is inside the individual, not necessarily on the outside, because you don't have to focus and put your attention on that. They are in front of you. You don't have to focus on the outside of them or their outsideness. You focus and give attention on their insideness, which means that you yourself even actually come in contact with their authenticity, with their authentic nature, with the core of their essence. So you're communicating with the core of their essence rather than the surface of their presence. And when you meet them there, you meet them here, and these things meet. This no longer is, it's neither here nor there anymore. This is just built for speed. This is built for longevity. This is why this goes, and the thoughts and the feelings and all sorts of stuff, and your mouth is running at a speed. And then even the hands may start to come. That's when it gets you cross lines. Like I said, energy seeks to be entity. Thought seeks to become action. We have to be aware in this middle crossover to not let it cross over, because it can actually create a point of no return. It may, it's not definite, but it may, depending upon how much you let that thought become an action, depending upon how much access you give that energy to become an actual entity and become possessed. This is why the middle path to the shamans, or the shamanistic way of living, is so important, or so relevant to the spiritual understanding of this reality, this experience. Be in the middle, the corpus callostrial intelligence. So when you're thinking of what to do, and you're saying, okay, I don't feel like doing that, just because you don't feel like doing that, not because you don't love them or like them or care about them, if you want to put in those kind of words. But you're just, nah, I'm just not there right now. I don't want to do that right now. Whatever it may be, whatever decisions or plans. Remember, we're a being that's in constant transformation. Being authentic to your true self is staying up to date. Not being authentic is keeping yourself a past prisoner. How about that? So when you're authentic, you're going through transformative states of existence. Your mind, your perception, how you conceive, your conception, your perception, your inception. You're constantly going through different phenomenal, transformative states of beingness. And if the mate understands this and knows this, has a knowledge of self, they understand what the self goes through and will have compassion and understanding for your selfhood, because they know it, because they are it and they're being it. They feel it, they think it, they see it, they sense it, they are it. They are it. So why wouldn't something that is respect something else that is the same reflection as it is? Especially if what they are being imbues them to a certain degree that they become engulfed and embraced within their own being, and can see the neutral and mutual pristine quality that comes from that. You would want your mate to also inherit that same quality, so that you guys both can be of high divine value together. See, I break this shit down so that it's nice and simple to understand. It ain't no way of explaining certain things and giving the gnosis better than you actually living through the actual experience which you are sharing at one time in your life. Now, when they decide yes or no, they want to take a walk or take a drive or watch a movie or whatever's going on, all this happens literally within a nanosecond of an individual who has common sense and awareness and knowledge of self. It happens instantly. They'll just answer and respond back to you. And respect their answer. Because you respect their answer, that means you're staying within the intelligence of the moment, and you're respecting the beingness of presenthood, to be of the now. See, there's a whole way of understanding, most importantly, a way of being, because you're interacting with someone. It's very important to conduct yourself in proper manner, especially with someone that you are reflecting love and projecting love around. by being your true, authentic self. The next line in doorway is, to be authentic is to first reflect before you project. Meaning, to be still and silent with something that was shared to you. First, to consider it as a possibility first, and to see if that specific light finds resonance and residence within you before thinking to eject it or deflect it. Whatever your mate may throw at you to consider as possibility, plans, even if they change their mind, minds change because people transform. The beingness is, but the beingness goes through its doings. And when you're in their atmosphere, when you're not in their atmosphere, they're still going through changes, whether you're in their presence, when you're not in their presence, another form or another phase of changes arises around their cipher in the orbit and within their orbit. So around their cipher and within their orbit, transformation is constant, whether you are present or not. And there's two different intensities. When you're present, there's a certain amount of intensity of transformation. When you're not present, there's a different amount of intensity of transformation. Because they're no longer seeing you around. They are only seeing their self now. Which once again, they're going to be of a more higher spiritual accordance, because seeing their self now and no longer seeing you, they are self-reflecting even deeper than when you were around. So when you come back around, they may be actually invisible because they are in their zero state. This is why you may not see him, you may not see her eye to eye. Agreements become disagreements because now they're on a different vibratory state. They're at a different cymatic state. They're vibrating in a different acoustic frequency. Their frequency analysis has changed. This is just science. And remember, the word science is the word seance. A seance is something that you call out during a ritual. A ritual is a spiritual ceremony. If one is spiritual, they have to respect another spiritual light. I'm a spiritual light, you're a spiritual light. So, as much as one has respect for you, you are supposed to reflect that respect in return. Never force one to do anything. Because if you force someone to do something, then you are not actually with your mate, with your husband or your wife or your woman. You are actually with a slave. You are actually with a robot. You're actually with a cyborg. You are actually in love with yourself. That in itself is, what you call that damn word? Not neurotic. That is actually narcissistic. Another way of looking at it. Why don't you just do this? Just do this. Why not? You just do this. Just do it. Why not just do it? Just do it. Please do it. You agreed to do it. Let's just do it. Why don't you do it? That's narcissistic. Because now you're not trying to see the person and you don't see them anymore. You just see yourself. That right there is selfishness. That's not selflessness. Selfishness gets you stuck back in the body, which is why you go through the body motions, emotions, feelings, anger, resentment, regrets. upset, there's the science to this that always remains in place, whether you know it or not. And you're always going to be the effect of its causal intelligence. Always. You can't rearrange the elements, forces, and energies. It is as it is and always will be what it is. Do you know how to create the perfect formula to keep yourself content with the formula that was given in this reality of energy, forces, principles, and elements? Energy, forces, principles, and elements. Energy, forces, principles, and elements. These things do not change positions. They don't switch spots. They stay exactly where they are. They do not move. The whole point is you as an alchemist dealing with alchemy. Do you know how to create the perfect elixir, the perfect formula that keeps you content within your authentic nature? That's why spirituality is science. Science is spirituality. There is no separation between the two, like love or authenticity. No, love, true love, ancient love, the realest aspect of love at its highest zenith point of purpose and existence is authenticity. Authenticity is love. Love is authenticity. I made that title that way, or beneath me, I made the title this way to see if when you see this video, do you think that they're two different things? But they're actually not two different things. They're the same damn thing. To be authentic is to radiate what is known as love. To be loving is to be authentic. Okay? So, this is why it's very important to sit, let it sit with you, be quiet, be still. Let what was shared with you sit with you for a minute. People change minds, people change plans. That's just a part of nature. That's a part of just self growth and development. Transformation. Who you were yesterday is who you are not today. Who you were 5 years ago, you are not that person now. What you were about 10 years ago, you are not about that in this moment, in this day. So you see there is a transformative intelligence. So in other words, take the person out the equation so that you don't take nothing personal and just respect the principle of transformation and move with the flow. You cannot resist it because to resist the flow is to resist life. You are not living until you are being of grace. So in other words, for authenticity or to be authentic is to be of grace. Okay. The next line in the doorway is, this is very important. Very, very important. Very important. If you ask me, very relevant. What I see a lot of people do and have done, and even what I have done. Never overextend yourself, because overextending leads to expectations. What does this mean? Damn, if I had a damn rubber band. Rubber band. Anyway, y'all know what the hell a rubber band looks like. The pulling out and snapping back of a rubber band. In other words, the further you reach out, you pull that rubber band, the harder the snapback of that rubber band snaps back into a smaller circle when you let go of one end. Snaps back. Or you hold the rubber band ends and you pull it and you let this one go and it snaps back quick. This is why you snap when you overextend yourself. Overextending meaning what? The example of taking a walk. I feel like taking a walk. You want to take a walk? Okay, yeah, I'll take a walk with you. But you know damn well you didn't want to take a walk at that time. Hey, let's go for a drive right now. Let's get some air. Okay, yeah, let's go for a drive. Sure. I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm cool with that. Yeah, let's do that. Deep inside your authentic self, you know damn well you ain't want to take that drive at that moment. And it had nothing to do with judgment. You just didn't feel to do it, but you did it anyway. You overextended yourself. That's not being authentic. If you really just didn't want to do something, voice up and just say, I don't want to do it. Or if you wanted to do something genuinely and authentically, then just do it. Just doing something, there is no expectations expected in return. But overextending yourself is when sooner or later you snap because you say, well, I've done that for you. You can't do this for me? Well, I didn't want to do that, but I still did it anyway. See? You snap mentally, psychologically, you snap. And when you snap, now you're in possessive mode and you're in feelings and you're drowning in emotions. You become emotional. You get that Carl Thomas syndrome. See? So it's science, it's physics, it's spirit. Do things because you want to do things. Don't do things because you just don't want to do things. You will move as the grace. The grace, the intelligence of grace will move you when you ought to be moved, and the intelligence of grace will keep you still when you need to be still. And it's not about accepting or resisting, really. It's just really about being. Some people may identify as agreeing or disagreeing, accepting or resisting. That's not really what it is. That's a false external identification. But when you are being authentic and genuine and sincere with your being, it moves itself or it keeps itself still. See, you're not interacting or communicating from a broadcast of choice and decision to that degree of understanding, to a certain degree of understanding. Like I say, you always want to go deeper or more, you know, more innate on these topics that I touch upon on my channel. Schedule a Zoom session and we can go into a consultation a lot more deep about a lot more things that I can tie this into history. I can tie this into ancestry. I can tie this into a lot of different things, civilizations, examples. I mean, it goes on and on and on. But here on my platform, I have to be simple as possible, by living the reality and the truth that I am sharing with you from the core of my truth, which is the core of my authentic nature, my authenticity, my genuinity, my sincerity. This is how it comes out so flowy, how I can just freestyle this. You know. So some people may say, because I also do, or when I did music, I would these words of I would just articulate myself a certain way, not because I was nice with words or wordplay. That's not what it was about. It was about me just being my truest nature. The language comes out naturally. So it's not the gift of gab or master of wordplay. That's the surface identifying aspect of something which is hidden innate within me. And that hidden aspect is just me being true to my nature. The words just happen to attach to my nature in a certain kind of Tetris-like order for the wordplay to be projected out in such a manner that receives a certain kind of value of respect in return. That's the magic. Just be real with yourself. And I know this because at one time I was being, you be not as real with yourself. So you learn about realness by not being as real with yourself internally, within your mind, within the privacy of your mind, certain things. You know? So nobody's a master or an expert or professional at any damn thing. Not even me, nobody. You just have a channel and you broadcast your channel on the screen of mind, and people will pick up that signal on your antenna that is supposed to be picked up to turn that static screen into a clear screen, into clarity that they can utilize for their well-being and their journey and their path on the path of love with in an intimate relationship or an intimate setting with a mate, by being or incorporating the principles and the qualities of authenticity. So I learned about and still learning about authenticity and being authentic because I was inauthentic. I learned about honesty because I was being dishonest. See, these are things that you learn and you keep learning because it goes into deeper and deeper and deeper doorways of itself naturally. The more you go, or the more you know, the more you grow. The more you grow, the more you glow. And the more you glow, those that know will know. Okay? So don't overextend yourself. I don't recommend or suggest anybody to overextend themselves. There is a way when we're dealing with the love aspect and they say submit and surrender. Absolutely. But you're not submitting and surrendering to the person and their suggestions and plans. You're submitting and surrendering to your authenticity. That is the love intelligence or the intelligence of love. To surrender to your true authentic nature, to your genuine way of being. That's what you're surrendering to. That's what you're submitting to. You're submitting to the essence of the person, not the presence of the person. Because the presence of the person is governed by the brain. The essence of the person is governed by the heart. That's the difference. You know? That's the purpose. That's the difference. Okay. The next line and or doorway is to be of authenticity is to move in faith and to remain patient for the returning revelation. To remain patient for the revelation. To move in faith and remain patient for the revelation, for that which is going to be revealed to you any moment, as long as you move in faith. Faith is not religion. Faith is spiritual nature. To be completely self and do as the self requires, regardless of hurt feelings and troubled thoughts. Once again, it goes back to not hurting somebody's feelings. You're not focused on hurting somebody's feelings. You're focused on being your true authentic self because that is the greatest gift and reward and prize that you can give someone else. The greatest prize, reward, and gift that you can give someone else or be amongst someone else with is the gift of transparency, the gift of invisibility, to be seen through, not to have any blemishes or tarnishes on your being. Because this gives that person clarity whether they want to move in faith with you or not. See, you don't put on a mask and a costume. You already have a mask and a costume. It's called the face and the body. You don't put on extra masks on top of the primal mask. You don't put on extra costumes on top of the already costumed or uniformed being. Let them see through you. See, and that can be very troubling to some people, only because they are not accepted of their self. They haven't accepted their self. They're not in true acceptance of their self. So why would that person want to be transparent around somebody else? Because they may see their faults. They may be in blame and shame and embarrassment. Or they may say, damn, I'm going to lose that person. So be it. That's divine path. But if that person sees you for your transparency and you're being of a true, authentic nature, and they realize that, respect it, absorb it, and embrace it, and infuse with it, then they are supposed to be around you and with you on your path. That's the revelation. And it's not saying that you don't have feelings, you don't care about them being hurt or feeling or thinking a certain way about what you have proposed to them. And it's not about not caring. It's just that for some reason, you being authentic, you can't find a care to care for that. Because your care is innate and insidious on keeping yourself at an optimum level of homeostasis within the human body and the mind frame. To be content and middle with your being. Because once again, that is the greatest gift, the greatest reward, the greatest prize that you can give anybody that you are in an intimate relationship with. Period. And if they don't see that, then that's something that they have to deal with. But you just continue being authentic. Because you have to face yourself in the mirror tomorrow morning and that night. Okay? Nobody else's faces in that mirror but yours when you look into that mirror. The next line in our doorway is, to be authentic is to be whole and completely complete. To function and operate through the beingness in its total purpose. Divine completedness. The putting together or placing together of distant parts. And these distant parts can also be kind of equivalent to, like, not confronting certain things within you, not addressing certain things within you, and then confronting and addressing it within yourself. You're facing different personalities and identities that you went through and saying, oh, you fake. No, you're not real. You wasn't being real. Oh, you wasn't being real with him like that. You wasn't being real with family. You wasn't being real with them. You're not real. You're fake. I am the new. You are the old. And you're talking to your personalities and your identities that you were at one time, that you knew, you were at that time, and it covered itself up with shame, embarrassment, guilt, and, for some reason you weren't being authentic at those times within yourself. Therefore, you wasn't being honest with them on the outskirts. You wasn't being honest as the outward intelligence, because you weren't the inward intelligence of authenticity and genuinity and sincerity. You weren't being sincere. So if you weren't being genuine, authentic, and sincere within yourself, how can you be honest and truthful with someone else? And you were these avatars, you were these personalities and identities at certain times for whatever reason, time and season. But that's what you go back and you address them and you confront by confronting yourself. Because when you address a past personality or past identity that you were at whatever time for whatever reason, you are actually face to face with yourself. You are interacting through a personal interfacing. And that, once again, is self-reflection. And those were bases and stations that were emotional things, friction, confusion, survival, whatever it may have been, whatever reason, you had to come in that emotional field as just energy in motion, not emotional, but just energy in motion, because you're now looking to transform that emotional child that you were, or that person, that personality or identity, into a free, graceful, flowing intelligence. This is where you get the understanding of the chakras, and you bring the green chakra to the red, to the root. You bring the green chakra to the navel, the green chakra to the solar plex, the green chakra to the throat. See, you start bringing the green, which is the heart. And this is where authenticity is. Not in the actual physical heart, but in the beat that beats the heart. Which is somewhat of an electrical intelligence, but not the electricity as you know it today inside of walls and outlets with wires and technological appliances. No, this is not that kind of electricity. Because once you understand spirit, spirit is electricity. That's what I'm going to say at the moment. I can go in deep on that as well. I'm having classes already getting set up for the next solar cycle, spring. Y'all can sign up. I'm going to be explaining things to a degree where you have never heard it before. A lot of different topics. Depending upon where you are in your spiritual path, that topic will be referred to you. Different topics, depending upon how your spirit is conversing with you and how you are communicating back with it. That will determine what I will assign the class and curriculum of our engagement. So yes, that's the whole point. Okay, and you just, all you're doing is you're just seeking your authentic nature. That's not a crime. You just want to know you. I mean, like I said, people say I'm not with that invisible thing or this visible thing, and I don't know all that invisible. I can't validate that as a fact and truth. And I always say one thing. Okay, cool. Can you explain oxygen to me? You breathe it, don't you? Why can't you see it? And this is where the conversation goes. Crickets. Not even crickets. Just silence. Okay. And silence is good because it brings about self-reflection. The next line of doorway is to be authentic or of authenticity is to walk as godliness, to talk as godliness, in order to be of God or godly or God-like. To be of likelihood. To be of your true likeness. You're being like the like. But this like that you are being like is not something physical. It's something innate, something internal, it's something insidious. It's something beyond what you can comprehend, but you know, feel, and sense that it is. You're being like that. And we just happen to call that like a three-letter word, G-O-D, but it's deeper than that understanding. Okay. Next line and or doorway is to be of true authenticity of your true authentic nature, your true divine authentic nature, is to go through the true filtering process. The spirit does the sifting through the filtering screen of the soul. to reveal to itself its truest self, to be of its purest nature within its own experience. So, to be authentic is to go through your true filtering process. The spirit does the sifting through the filtering screen of the soul to reveal to itself its true self. Okay? Hold on 1 second. Okay, oops, pardon me. So, what does this filtering process mean? What do you mean filtering, Blue? What do you mean by that? When you begin to filter, to be authentic or being authentic is a filtering process, which means that you begin to, people and atmospheres and environments begin to disappear. Because when you are being authentic, you are surpassing and superseding past identities and personalities which no longer hold your attention or interest. And in these personalities and identities that you once were in the past, people got glued to them, environments happen to them, events happen around them, these different time frames, because that was in a different chronology, that was in a different time setting. You are now in a different timeline or a moment. So if you are in the moment, you're authentic, you're in the moment. And the moment does not have a time structure. So anything of that time frame or relating to time frame technology begins to disappear. And it just so happened that in these personalities and time frames, at times, you met people and came across people and went to events and you were living in a different zip code or different area or you were in a different atmosphere, found yourself in a different environment. But anything, when it goes back once again to the beginning of this video, dealing with the vibrations, these settings and people and events and places and things were in a different vibratory state of being. Now that you have shifted into another different state of vibration, those vibrations begin to die out. Therefore, people begin to disappear from you that you once knew or was once in contact with. These areas you no longer visit now vanish from your present moments. So this is the divine filtering process through the divine sifting, because you sifter. You have something, you sifter. It's like having some sand on something and you sift the sand. Say you have a stone, a crystal stone inside of a bucket of sand, and you have a sifter. You pour that bucket of sand over the sifter and you sift out the sand as the sand falls down to the floor. As all the sand falls down to the floor while you are sifting through that bucket, the only thing left over will be that crystal stone. And that crystal stone is the example or equivalent to your true authentic nature. The sand that's going through that filter is known as the many people, the many places, the many events, the many atmospheres, the many environments, the many things that took place at a certain time, which no longer is, disappearing and dissipating in order to reveal to you your true authentic nature. See? Let me see. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. So that's the point of, are you willing to go through the sifting and the filtering process? Are you willing to let go of people, places, and things, events, and times? But you're not focusing on letting people go. That's just the natural divine process. It's being willing to sacrifice in order to gain divine reward. It's the ultimate experimenting of one's experience. This is how you experience it. This is how the ultimate experience takes place within you. Is when you are willing to transport and transform in order to transcend. Hold on 1 second. Give me a second. 1 second. It's almost over. Good, King, man. What's going on, bro? How you doing? Right? Oh. Good, man. Good. Okay. All right, so it is, man. See, you doing well. I'm in the middle of recording. Let's come inside. I'm saying, no, get your bag and say, I'm in the middle of recording. Oh, all right. You're going to say it. I'm right there. All right, commercial break. Coming right now. All right. Back to the scheduled program. Love and authenticity. Now, pardon that little commercial break. My son had just came to visit. Say what's up. All right. So that's what the whole sifting and filtering process is. That's only if you're willing to find your true authentic nature. If you're not willing to do that, do not go this route and do not walk this path, because this means that this is just not for you. And it doesn't mean it's not for you forever. It just isn't for you right now. But only if you are a true divine seeker and knower, and you truly want to know, you will find out. That's why they say, be careful what you ask for. There's a way deeper meaning behind that. Okay? But that's what it means. Because when you ask for it internally, you will get revealed it. Or it will reveal itself to you. Internally, first and foremost, and then externally as the effect of the cause, or as the result, the end result. Okay, the next line in doorway is, to be authentic is to make contact with your hidden contracts, which means to become that transdimensional intelligence in order to be acquainted and visited, to interact with other potential unlockings of self. to claim your birth-written methodology in order to bear witness to your unique alchemical formula. So what am I doing? You're pushing the envelope. And you're pushing the envelope to dive into a surface and drop deeper and deeper until that surface that you dove into disappears. So this is what being authentic means. It means to make contact with your hidden contracts. You are trying to make contact with your hidden contract. Your hidden contract is the contract that you agreed to be here in this body, in this journey, on this path. That's the whole point. That's the contract that you made. So you're trying to get in touch with the divine contract beyond your external contact, or you're contacting it internally, but you're using the external vehicle to make eye to eye, to interface with your internal contract. That's the point. Okay? So, and this is basically what is known as a transdimensional intelligence. And you're doing this transdimensional intelligence, or this transdimensional act, to interact with potential unlockings of the self that you are, or the self that is hidden within you. And amongst these unlockings, you are going to be acquainted and visited by your deeper intelligence, which was waiting for you to acknowledge it so that it may contact you to bring you into your authentic nature and your authentic purpose, which is the authenticity. And that is the diving into a surface, and diving so deep into that surface until the point where you look back at that surface and that surface is no longer there. That surface has disappeared. So you have to be willing to disappear a surface, which is, i.e., the disappearing of people. It can be past mates, it can be friends, it can be family, it can be whoever. These people will indefinitely disappear if they are not on the same vibration that you are on, and the same frequency that you are projecting now in this moment, according to your self-realization and your self-reflection that took place inside of your being. Just like water, they have pH balance, right? pH means potential hydrogen. You can say illness or any imbalance in the body, dealing with the imbalance of the homeostasis of the body, is at a 6.9, 6.8. Health is at a 7 and above, 7.2, 7.5, 8.1. 7.5 and 8.1 is potential hydrogen, or pH just means a different vibratory frequency. This is why illness and these things don't exist. And it doesn't mean that the 7.5 or 8.1 hates 6.9. It's not that you hate people or trying to get away from something. You just don't vibrate in their frequency anymore. See? That's the understanding. This is why it goes beyond judgment. To understand, you have to drop judgment. You will never understand until you drop judgment. This is how you get to your true authentic core, your true authentic nature. If you are seeking that, if you are a true knower on this path, then you will come across it, or it will come across you. It will find you. Next doorway is, like two, three more, okay. To do what you feel and know, or to be authentic is to do what you feel and know is your own unique truth. And never ever look back from that point forward. It is the journey of constant self-accomplishments. This is what authenticity means. This is why love is authenticity and authenticity is love. Love is the radiated identification of the unidentifiable energy and transparency, or transparent intelligence of authenticity. See, so authenticity is like the spirit, love is like the human body. To make a different example, to make it a little more clearly to understand how I'm explaining it. Next line doorway is, this is important. This is another very important one. To be authentic, or to be of your true authenticity, is to no longer personalize or try to personalize or dress up a moment or dress up a turnout, to let it naturally play out and unfold as it is. Why? To receive the true language of divine revelation. For what? For the truest and purest clarity of self realization. See, so you are no longer personalizing your mate. You're not here to personalize her or to personalize him for you or to personalize her for you. You are just being your authentic being. So you're not trying to personalize your mate to fit your standard or your standards. You are having faith in faith itself. You are having faith in your essence and nature that its authenticity of grace will do the informings and fittings for you around your surroundings, for you. This is what true faith is. People say they're spiritual, but they're still trying to put outfits and clothing and uniforms and costumes on their mate and masks to personalize them like they're a toy or they're your slave or your personal robot. That's not spiritual. Spiritual is faith. You're having faith in the intelligence of faith itself because you know faith is real. You feel its realness. You sense its realness. You know its realness. See, so you're no longer personalizing them. They're not your toy. You are having faith in the authenticity of grace, that grace itself will do the informings and fittings around your surroundings for you. To be of authenticity is to be of pure silence and action, without an intent, design, or blueprint of how it constructs. To be more of action than having an intention behind the action. This is what authenticity is. This is what to be love is. Okay? It is basically to naturally embrace them more internally, which is what I said before. You're naturally embracing your mate internally. Not so much externally, but internally, you're embracing them. You have to learn basically how to hug appreciation. You have to create arms to hug and embrace gratitude. You have to create invisible spiritual arms to hug, embrace, and infuse, to touch, learn to touch nothingness and to embrace it. Embrace energy, hug energy, grab the hand of energy. Hug appreciation, hug gratitude. See? Embrace communication. Hug interaction, not the person, but interaction itself. Give interaction a body. Not a name and a face, something different. Give interaction a body. Give appreciation a body. Give acknowledgement a body. So you're giving a body to something so that you can hug it and embrace it and infuse with it. And as you infuse with it, you imbue as a result, as an effect, naturally. You're trying to find your authentic nature. You're seeking your true authenticity. If you want to be love or you want to be of love, This is the only way for love to find itself is for you to be love itself. What do I got to do? Just be authentic. I just gave you a lot of keys on the keychain to unlock your door of authenticity. All you got to do is put the key in and turn it and turn the knob, and voila, you're inside of your heart. It doesn't mean that it's all paradise. It may be scary because it may be a lot of things, like I said, you haven't addressed and confronted within yourself. So maybe a little wild ride, but if you're in for it and it makes sense to you, then you're right where you need to be. So naturally embrace them more internally. Appreciation inwardly, and expression of that appreciation projects outwardly. That's the whole point. Okay? So it's basically to know more than you guess, to know more than you wander. You want to know things. You don't want to guess things. You don't want to wander your mind. You want to know things. To know things is to be of your true authentic core. It is to seek the total you in search of your zero or zeroness of being. You want to seek the total you. What is the total me? What is the all me? Because the all-seeing eye, right? The almighty. So it's to be the all, to be the total. But what is your totalness? What is your total? Find your totals. Once you find your total, you're going to see that right behind that door of total is zero. Your zeroness of being. Because beingness just means zeroness. To be is to be zero. So that's another way of looking at authenticity. It's being willing to sacrifice for the unknown gain in return. And that unknown gain, of course, is enlightenment and things of that nature, and insight, intuition, knowing, feeling the knowing. Because feeling and knowing, or feeling the knowing, is different than the body feeling, emotion, or feeling feelings. There's a certain kind of spiritual aspect to feeling, not just a physical, emotional aspect to feeling. There's a spiritual feeling. And that feeling is identified or has been identified as the knowing intelligence. It's two more lines. Next line is to be the divine tranquility, or this is authenticity. To be authentic is to be the divine ventriloquist animating the cosmic dummy, rather than being the cosmic dummy being moved and manipulated by the hand and fingers of the divine ventriloquist. This is what authenticity means, to be authentic. To be the ventriloquist rather than the dummy. The dummy is the one screaming, yelling, pissed off, emotional. But it wouldn't be doing all that if that being that was within that dummy knew that it was actually the ventriloquist in reality. That's only when the ventriloquist becomes fooled into thinking that it's the dummy on its lap. Not saying that you're dumb because you're emotional or you're going through certain things and feelings. This is just an example to give you a polarity, a contrast of understanding one from the other. So instead of being the emotional dummy on the ventriloquist's lap, just look up and you see there's strings tied to the head of your dummy, to the arms of your dummy, to the legs of your dummy. And follow those strings all the way up. And soon you're going to see the hand, like the hand of God, right? That's what they call it, the hand of God. You're going to see the hand. And once you see the hand, you're going to see the body. And once you become identified with the body, then you will be revealed the face. And then no longer you're the dummy anymore. Now you are the ventriloquist controlling your dummy, or you are now the spirit controlling your body from the view of the soul. So it is to be more in the asness of being rather than the becauseness of being. You just as yourself, as I am. I am as I am. Rather than the becauseness. I'm doing this because I wanted her to do this, or I wanted him to do this in return. You're in the becauseness. You're not in the asness. So to be authentic is to be in your as body, your as mind, your as being, your asness. Love or authenticity? Am I as I am, as you are? I'll see y'all next time. So then, keep you in mind. 1, 0.